Well, hello, hello, and welcome to the Writers Tribe. I'm your host, Elsa Kerr, and today I have the fabulous, wonderful, also Kappa member, Connie Bombaci, and she's going to be talking about her book series, Hogan's Hope, and all about this wonderful, amazing dog and the inspiration behind that whole story. Welcome, Connie. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I am delighted to be here, and I am extremely happy that you invited me onto your wonderful show.
Absolutely. I'm so excited that you accepted and so grateful that you did. I love your story. I think it's so beautiful. And full disclosure, I have not read the book yet. It is in my to be read list. And as I was doing my homework on you, I did not realize that there was a whole series. So this was new information to me. So I'm so excited to hear all about it. Let's go back first to kind of sort of the beginning. Tell me about your kind of like your writing journey. Were you writing books already before Hogan's?
No, I was not. I was not. Hogan was a miraculous dog. He was a rescue, and we rescued him when he was 18 months old. And without getting into the whole journey, because I'm sure we'll chat about that, he made an impression upon almost everyone who met him. He was an inspiration. And my mother was a very faithful woman. And she looked at me one day and she hesitated and she said, "Connie, you need to write Hogan's story." I said, "Ma, I'm not a writer." She said, "Connie, you need to write Hogan's story." I said, "Ma, I'm not a writer."
Mhm.
And so for a third time, I remember distinctly, it took 3 times. She said, "Connie, you must write his story. He has touched too many people's lives for you not to write his story. You need to share that with other people."
Isn't that amazing that she gave you that spark and that inspiration? And this story, this sharing of this story is really changed your life in so many ways, hasn't it?
It has changed my life because it's given me a little piece of confidence to go out there and share the message of hope with folks. Because so many of us give up hope. And we don't need to give up hope. We can always persevere. And when I learned that by watching Hogan overcome so many pitfalls, challenges, myths, judgments, I said, if he can do it, I can do it.
And Hogan's story is truly incredible and so remarkable, and his beginning is devastating and heartbreaking. So correct me if I'm wrong, he was born basically in a puppy mill, is that correct?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I do know that he was in a very harsh environment where he was never allowed to go inside a home. And Dalmatians are not all-weather dogs. Their hair is short, and they are meant to live in a controlled environment. So being out in that horrific northeaster winter we had, he was born in April. The following winter, before he was even a year old, he was left outside in a cold, cold kennel, barely fed. And he was virtually taken away from this place. And the Connecticut Humane Society got their hands on him. And that's where we came to adopt Hogan.
Wow. Did you know when you went to adopt him, was this like a specific plan for this dog, that you had heard about this dog, or had you just decided we're ready for a dog and we want it to be a rescue? How did the actual meeting of you and Hogan happen?
Well, all of my animals have been rescues in some shape, form, or another, whether they wildlife that have been orphaned or abandoned, or our first dog, India, Well, the first dog for my husband and myself, India, a black lab mix, was extremely vivacious. And we finally came to the point where we realized she needed a playmate. And my husband, who claims to be not a puppy dog person, said, and took convincing. And when he finally relented, he said, all right. India was 18 months old. She's short-haired. So he said, has to be 18 months old, male, neutered, short hair. He was sure I would not find a dog.
Yeah, he gave very, very specific details. I totally get where he was going with that. Yeah.
So I called all around to all the shelters and people and checked newspapers. And finally, I repeated my call to the Connecticut Humane Society. And back then they had the telephone listing. So this long list of animals, very last, 18-month-old Dalmatian, male, neutered, deaf. I didn't even hear the word deaf. It didn't matter to me. And I went, oh, this is our dog. So I called the Connecticut Humane Society. They talked to me for about 45 minutes on the telephone. And they said, okay, but we'd like, and I said, I want India to meet him. I want to be sure they get along. So they said, okay, how about if you come up tomorrow? So I told Jim, and he packed India into the car, and I left directly from work, and we met at the Connecticut Humane Society, and out comes this deaf pup, emaciated, sores all over his body. It took about 10 seconds. The two of the dogs went into play mode, and off they were running around the big, I call it family room, but I guess the gathering room where they would do presentations, things like that, the all-purpose room. And they said, well, you have to wait 24 hours. My heart sank to the floor. And they said, well, there's another single gentleman interested in Hogan. So we want to be sure who the best home is. And I just didn't get a wink of sleep that night. And in the waiting time, Jim and I looked at each other and said, you know, this guy's deaf. How are we going to talk with him? How are we going to communicate with him? Because I always believed that connecting, relationship, bonding is through communicating, whether it be hands-on, talking to, and simultaneously we looked at each other and said, sign language. It's already invented. It's already there. So that's what we did.
That's amazing. And did you already know sign language, or did you have to learn it?
I knew one sign.
Wow.
I love you. I love you.
What a great sign to know. That's
all I knew. And so when I got the call at work the next day saying, Connie, come get your pup.
Oh.
I left from work because I had the car already in case. I left directly from work. And when I got home with him, sitting on the counter was a pocket-sized handbook for American Sign Language.
Oh.
My husband had gone out and gotten it.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Hogan and I learned one sign at a time.
Wow. And you really learned it together, which is so cool.
It was very cool. It was very cool. But the I love you sign, I couldn't use with him. Oh. For some reason, my waving my hand at him put him into a cower. He was scared. So I had to do it, I love you. And
that's so sweet. Wow. Yeah. Was he, did it take him a little while because of the abuse and neglect and terrible conditions prior? Did it take him long to kind of warm up to you? I know to the dog, to your other dog, it was quick, but for you guys, did it take a little longer, or?
He wanted so much to be right with us.
Oh.
But yes, it did take some time. And we realized later on that there was a big hurdle to get over, and that was the flashlight.
Oh.
He was scared to death of the flashlight, and all we can surmise is that the flashlight was connected to a very bad memory. So what we did was we put the flashlight in the far corner on the floor of the kitchen.
Mhm.
And he would look at that thing and make his farthest way around that to get into the next room. And inch by inch, we brought it out to the center of the room and left it there and started feeding him there until he got used to it being there. Then we had to get over the hurdle of it being turned on. So we started back in the corner again with the flashlight turned on. And slowly but surely out it came from the corner. It took about a year.
Wow.
For him not to be afraid of the flashlight.
That's amazing. And the thing that truly amazes me and warms my heart about that is your willingness to take that time and that care and that compassion with an animal. That's such a show of your character, and your husband, of course, the type of people that you are. And whether you want to be or not, now we're instantly friends, because anyone who loves animals the way that you do is just has to be in my universe. So just warning you.
Thank you. Well, think about if we have a child who has a need, or when my parents became old and weak.
Right.
What would we do for them?
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different for me and animal lovers and those who understand animals, that they have heart, they have spirit, they have feelings, they have needs. We can't be any other way.
It's the defenselessness of them, right? That they are in need of someone stronger, bigger, whatever the case is, to protect them. That brings out that instinct in you. If you're a nurturing person, and I would like to think that more of us are than not, but if that's your nature, I agree with you completely. How could you not take in, any animal, any human for that matter, who is in that kind of need. So that's so beautiful. And you said that all of your pets, all of your animals have all been rescues, correct?
Correct. Except for our very last pup that we have right now, Gabriel, who is a mellow yellow fellow. He's a yellow Labrador. Yes.
Very sweet. How long did you have Hogan for? I'm assuming he's passed on at this point.
He has passed on. He was born in 1992.
Oh, okay.
And we got him in the fall of 1993. And he lived 2008. He was 10 days shy of his 16th birthday.
He had an amazing life. Wow. And
that's that's a long time for Dalmatians.
That's a very long time for any of our large breed dogs. Yeah, absolutely. Or larger breed dogs. Wow.
Yes.
So that another testament to the care and love that he received with you guys, and from fans all over the place. You guys have done over the years, you've made lots of appearances. Hogan has met some pretty impressive, amazing people in these journeys, correct?
Yes. And it's all Hogan. It's Hogan's success, not mine. It is his success. It is testimony to his perseverance to always succeed. And he got known first of all, through the Connecticut Humane Society by Jack Hanna, because Jack Hanna used to be based in Connecticut.
Oh, I never knew that.
And he got the Connecticut Humane Society's newsletter, and Hogan was in the newsletter. He called up and said, I want Hogan on my show. And of course, I was taken aback. I was taken aback. Well, things just blossomed from there. He went on to be on Good Morning America, Dateline NBC, not once, but twice. And Hogan became so bonded to me, we developed separation anxiety. And I have to say, it went both ways. So I went to our wonderful veterinarian, and he suggested that I take Hogan to see a very prestigious animal behaviorist, Dr. Nicholas Dodman, at Tufts University. So I did. And we have stayed connected since 2004, all the 18 years.
Wow.
I just realized that. And he was going on Oprah.
Oh boy.
And he called up and said, I want to take Hogan with me. Will you let Hogan go on Oprah with me? So he was on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
That's incredible. That is
It-
just incredible. And something you could have never foreseen happening, right? That day that you locked eyes with that, or really just the day that you read the name and the info about that dog. Who knew what an incredible journey that would lead all of you, your whole family on? It's just amazing.
Well, I believe it's because that message, Hogan's message of hope, needs to get out into the world.
Yes.
And we need to debunk all those myths, those judgments, those untruths about, well, I'll say deaf dogs, but it goes beyond that. Deaf people, people with service dogs, all kinds of things. We need those stereotypic things that we believe to be gone. For instance, with deaf dogs, it used to be believed that all deaf dogs need to be destroyed. They need to be destroyed because they can't learn. They can't make family members. They can be nasty if they're awakened too fast. Well, the saying, let a sleeping dog lie?
Yes.
That didn't come about because of deaf dogs. That became about because of any dog. Dogs need to be desensitized that it's safe to be awakened very suddenly. So yeah, we desensitized Hogan for that too.
That's so amazing. And, and it leads me to think of something that I know I've said many times, and perhaps you have too, that, it's not so much that the animals need training, it's that people need training how to be around animals.
Yes.
And it's always a little bit surprising to me how many people don't understand how to interact with animals. And I think that's a huge factor too, that, especially when it comes to children, you hear so many incidents of, children being bit by dogs, and, the automatic is to blame the dog or the dog's behaviors. And, really the culpability is oftentimes, if not all the time, with the adults not teaching the children how to interact with dogs or how not to interact with dogs. And that's such a disservice to animals as well, because everything that they do truly is on instinct. And so yeah, absolutely, you're so right with all of that. I love that you do the things that you do. It's just incredible to me.
Thank you.
Now there's more than one book. Tell me a little bit more about the series and how the different stories came about.
Well, I'm going to hold up my book here.
Please do. Yeah.
This is the first book. It is what I call my secular edition. Hogan's Hope, a deaf hero's inspirational quest for love and acceptance. That's all Hogan wanted, was to be loved and accepted. And my first manuscript was punctuated with Bible scripture that supported the different pieces of the story. And when I took it to my publisher at that time, they said, no, it won't sell. You need to take the scripture out. And my heart sank to my feet. And so I went by what they said, and I took the scripture out. Hence, we got our first book, which became very well liked. But it kept calling me. You need to put the scripture back in, Connie. You need to put the scripture back in. Whether you're a believer or not, I tell people, it's like a piece of poetry that punctuates the story. It enhances the story. So I came out with a completely different edition the Christian edition. And I changed the cover and the subtitle. And this subtitle is A Deaf Dog, A Christian's Faith, A Courageous Journey. And it's punctuated with Bible scripture throughout. So those are my first two. Manuscripts identical, and people have a choice. And they sell pretty much 1-to-1, which I said, I knew they'd sell.
Yes, I love that you went, I love that you trusted your instinct on that and trusted your faith really in that. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that speaks to many, many people more than, more than we probably realize. So I think that's great that you have both versions out. That's really cool.
Well, I kept in my mind, with hope, anything is possible. And if I go back to the Bible, it's when we have hope, no, with hope, my goodness.
I wish I could help.
Anything is possible. Yes, anything is possible when we have hope.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Yes.
It is. And when we would go to book signings at craft fairs or a bookstore, or did a presentation at a school or places like that, people kept saying, Connie, you need a children's edition. Children want to be loved and accepted. With all the bullying that's going on nowadays, we're all different. If you think about it, each and every one of us has a difference. And I got thinking about it, and I went, golly, I never thought I would be a writer. Can I do a children's book? Our daughter said, Ma, if you write the book, I'll do the illustrating.
Oh, wow.
I said, we could make this a family affair.
Oh.
So, because also my son-in-law, her husband, was a minister at the time at the church. So we went into it as a team effort, and we came out with our first children's book, and that's Hogan's Hope, Finding a Forever Home of Love and Acceptance. And we broke it down into the secular, which is just a different color, and the sacred, or the Christian, with little Bible scripture down the bottom of the pages. But our daughter did all the illustrating.
That's wonderful. Yes. Absolutely gorgeous.
And it received a reader's favorite 5-star.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I was actually going to say, you mentioned that it was, the book itself was well received. And I kind of want to go back to that because you were being very modest and very humble. It was especially well received. It is a multi-award winning story that you've written there. And, it's another testament to that message that you've, shared with so many, that it's well recognized as having great merit. Yeah.
If I could say, I think even though it's silver and not gold, for Hogan, the most prestigious award was the Benjamin Franklin. Both the Christian and the secular received the Benjamin Franklin, standing on their own merits individually in 2 different years. That just took me aback, because that is internationally known. So it helped spread that message of hope. And the other one that touched me was the Dan Pointner Legacy Award. He was a very famous journalist, and they created an award. And I was blown away when that notice came in that the book had received that.
That's so incredible and so deserving too. I love that such a good, and I mean good to its core, story. It got that kind of recognition, because it's kind of like it's just proof, it's just validation that all of the goodness in the world, you know, has an impact and it affects people in so many ways. And you know, you probably don't even know, and in fact, you definitely couldn't possibly know the ripple effect of how many people that story has possibly affected. And I think that alone is almost overwhelming, but in a really great way, right?
That's a great way of saying it. I had not thought of it as a ripple effect.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's very true. That is very true.
Absolutely. Now tell me, are you working on any more books, any more stories in this series, or anything completely different even, or are you taking a break from the writing?
Well, I've taken a bit of a break. We did come out with a second children's book, and okay, Hope for Children.
Mhm.
Okay, Hogan's gotten his forever home of love and acceptance. Now we need to show children that they can. They have hopes and dreams to do things. Well, Hogan, the second one, is discovering fun and favorite things.
Mm.
And Hogan shows children, you can. Dreams do come true. So that's the second children's book. And there are videos that go along with both books, and they're on our YouTube channel, Connie
Fantastic.
Bombaci. So children can see Hogan
That is so,
actually
so cool.
doing things. And so they can say, Hogan, Hogan did it, I can. And in fact, at one of the book signings at a school, a little boy came up to me, hearing impaired, said, and I forget the sport, I went out and did it. I went out and did it. Hogan was with me. And he had his Hogan doll.
Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart.
Still,
Oh, yeah.
that day just said it all.
You got
It
me
just
going
did.
now. You got me teary. That's beautiful. That is so amazing. I love every single part of this. I am so, so glad I got to talk to you today and hear about all this. Now, tell me, or actually, never mind me, tell everyone where they can find your books. If you're going to have any upcoming appearances or book signings or any of that stuff, where's the best way for everyone to find you?
Well, we're going to be right in Cheshire on June 11th at that, it's known around the state, the Strawberry Festival
Oh,
and
yeah.
Craft Fair.
Hmm.
And it's on June 11th from 10 to 4. We're going to be there. And then at the end of July, we're going to be at the really well-known Taco Fest in Guilford. And that's a 2-day event on the 30th and 31st. Tens of thousands of people attend that, and you get all kinds of different tacos and Mexican food, and we have the best day. And of course, our deaf dog Elsie will be with us, and she shows off how she understands American Sign Language.
That is
And
so cool.
and they can visit our website, conniebombassi.com. I kept everything simple.
Hmm.
Facebook, Connie Bombaci, Instagram, Connie Bombaci, kept it simple. But,
Perfect.
if I could share that ripple effect, you really gave me a message. May I tell you a story?
Absolutely.
Hogan was certified as a therapy dog, and they certified him without knowing he was deaf. I didn't think about that he wouldn't be allowed to take the test. I just had him do it, and he passed. So we would visit this particular nursing home here in Madison every Sunday. And one Sunday, they told me that there was a grumpy old gentleman down in the farthest end of the wing who didn't want visitors and never got out of bed. Well, that's all I needed to hear. Everybody deserves happiness. So Hogan and I went down to his room, made a right-hand turn into his doorway and stood there. Second week, went back, stood there, week after week after week. Finally, I said, may we come in for a visit? And the gentleman nodded. Well, it progressed over the months where the man began to talk with us and converse with us. He got up, he shaved, he got dressed, he ate meals. This went on glorious months. One Sunday, and I decided to take Hogan every week because this gentleman really needed Hogan. And one Sunday we arrived, we had to sign in. The nurse was waiting for us. And she said, Connie, you need to go down to your gentleman's room. Connie, Hogan, who never pulled on his leash, ever, yanked. And I went, no, no. And he yanked again. So I went, okay, boy, go. And I dropped his leash. Well, the nurse and I tried to keep up with him as he hightailed it down this long corridor, making the right-hand turn into the room. And there our gentleman was back in bed. Hogan, who had never done this before, one paw at a time, climbed up into bed and went up next to the gentleman and put his head here, where the gentleman could look down and look into Hogan's face. And the gentleman said, Hogan, I waited for you. And with that, he closed his eyes and passed.
Wow. Wow. Are you trying to get me to bawl here on camera? Are you trying to just get me to cry my face off here?
Talk about a ripple effect, what a dog can do.
Amazing.
There wasn't a dry eye in the place. They allowed Hogan to stay there several hours. I finally had to take Hogan away. But that's our ripple effect, how we touch lives. He didn't die alone.
He didn't die alone. And that is, oh my goodness, that is so touching and beautiful. I wish I could come up with, the writer in me can't even come up with a stronger word to do justice of the impact of that. How beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that story is going to stay with me. I think that's one of the sweetest things I've ever heard, and really so touching, and that great reminder of the power and impact. Again, that ripple effect, your love for the dog's love for you, and then an extension of that from both of you to others. And I love, the thing that again stuck with me is your patience, your calm patience for that. And that's something I lack generally in life, patience. And that is such a great lesson in and of itself to embrace that. And because of the rewards of that you get from just being patient, you said every week you went, and it just was kind of like one step closer, and just amazing. I'm a little bit awestruck right now. So thank you.
I didn't always have patience. I didn't.
No.
But I did. I took a deep breath and I said, Connie, you drive other people crazy. You would like them to be patient with you. And what do we hope for?
Beautiful.
I hoped that gentleman would have what he dreamed for, and that was to not die alone. He did not want to die alone, and he didn't. He went
really in peace, in peacefulness. That's incredible.
And there's many other stories like that. It's all hope, Elsa. It's hope. What do we hope for? In ourselves or in other people?
Right. Yeah. And, now I would say now more than ever, with so much discontent and ugliness going on in the world, there really, truly is no better time than now to read stories like this, to hear stories like this, and to be reminded that there are stories like this, and they're true stories. They're not made up stories. They're true stories. And it is inspiring, to say the least. And it gives hope. It gives hope.
And you are a media to take that message out.
Thank you.
There's no level of appreciation for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is truly for me, one of the greatest honors. I've been asked many times, even today I was asked, what's my favorite thing about doing these podcasts, doing these shows? And it is being able to be the medium, just to be the platform to be able to share stories like yours and give people those opportunities to share some amazing things out there that people might otherwise not have known about or heard about. So it's such a privilege for me to be able to do this and talk to you and people like you. So, I'm just full on gratitude. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. This was Connie Bombaci. She's the author of the Hogan's Hope series. You can go to her website and learn all about these wonderful, amazing stories, and go check her out at her upcoming events. And we will see you in the next episode. Take care, guys. If you're looking for the perfect gift for the reader in your life, why not check out one of my books? They're all available on Amazon and most major online book retailers, as well as elsakurt.com.